because the world doesn't just stop at bolt action, even though I might like it.
That's news to me, Paul. I thought it started and finished at bolt action.
Gorchin, I think we need to end the call, mate. That's
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the HMG podcast. We've got a really special episode for you today. Just over last weekend, Las Vegas Open was on. This is the largest wargaming convention in North America, and bolt action was played there. I saw that it was coming up, and I reached out to the tournament organizer that was there. I sent him an email and I said, look, man, I want to have a chat, get to know about you and the format. We organize a time and we lock it in. I get on the call and I realize I'm not just going to get to talk to the tournament organizer, but also Jon Russel, which is the brand ambassador for Warlord Games in all of North America. About 30 seconds into the call, I realize it's not just Bryan, which is the TO for LVO, and Jon Russel, which is the North American brand ambassador, but also on the call is Paul Walker, which is a name that carries a lot of weight for Warlord Games, the bolt action community. So we were really surprised to get to talk to all of them. That's what you're going to see in this episode, is us having a chat to them. They dropped some really hot, crazy news about bolt action, what's coming up. So make sure you stay tuned, check out the episode and see what news is coming. And make sure you hang out for right at the end of the episode as well. There's a little something in there for our Italian players. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Radio America, calling Australia. Radio America, calling Australia.
Welcome to the show, John. How you doing?
Fantastic. We're here in Las Vegas. I mean, how bad can that be, right?
Yeah, I remember I sent you the Zoom link, which for me was yesterday afternoon at like 3:00. And I was like, hey, right. All set, here it is. And it's just the reply in all caps. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's 9:00 in Vegas on a Friday.
yeah, exactly. Fantastic. Yeah. I have a good, when I was in high school, we had an exchange student from Australia stay with us. So I chat with him every once in a while. He's over in Brisbane right now.
Yeah.
He does some films. He was a DJ for a while. It was called Krusty. And then he did a lot of trance stuff, and then he does a lot of short films and stuff. So it's every once in a while I get a chance. I got to remember it's like 16 plus 8 kind of hours and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. But thanks for inviting us out here. It's fantastic. Warlord, thanks you guys. This is really cool. We're really happy. I'm joined here that's Paul Walker from the UK. He's from Scotland.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
He says hi. And then this is Bryan. Bryan's one of my raiders over here. And then Craig is out smoking a cigarette. But what we'll do is it's so freaking noisy in here because we have about, 200 or 300 freaking crazy 40K players and 30K players.
Yeah.
And we've got about 23, 24, 22. We had a guy drop today, but we have 22 bolt action players back here. And they're from England and from Montana and from California. They're all over. So what we'll do is, if you want to, you sent some questions for us. We'll answer them. I'll give them to Paul. I'll let Paul talk a little bit. He'll tell you what he's doing. My job is I'm the North American Warlord representative.
Right.
And I take care of conventions all over North America. Paul does the same thing over in England.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll let you guys talk to him first, and you can ask him some questions because he's the TO for this. And then we can talk to Bryan, and then we'll walk you along and we'll show you all the tables. Okay?
Yeah, perfect. Man. That sounds awesome. Let's do it.
Great.
All right. Sounds great, Jacob. Here we go.
Aloha, Jacob. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
How you doing,
Oh,
Paul?
brilliant. Fantastic. I'll probably shout, so just tell me to shut up if you need me to quieten down.
No, you're fine. We've figured out some fancy stuff we can do in post-production so we all sound the same volume. Don't stress. Do what you need to do, Paul. Go ahead.
Okay, mate. So here we are at LVO today. Oh, John's moving me further away, making it more difficult. There we go. So we're at LVO. We've come across. We've got all the guys here. There are loads of people all around. And we're having a grand time, aren't we, guys? You can pretend that they're all saying, huh?
We can feel the buzz all the way over here. Don't worry, we can feel it.
Sounds good. So, what would you like to know, gentlemen?
Well, LVO is the big deal, right? It's the big shtick. So we just want to know sort of about you guys running the show down up in Las Vegas, and as well now we've got you as well, Paul. How you do it in the UK? Want to know what it is that keeps you guys doing it and how you do it. And so I figured we'd start with yourselves and the events that you guys run.
Well, what keeps us doing it is we love the people, and really what we'd want to do is see people enjoying themselves, apart from John. And that's what it's all about. It's about people rolling dice, having a fantastic time, maybe learning some new things, taking games home to family and friends. And that's why we're all in it, really, and you guys are in it too. It's to make memories is what we're here for.
Yeah. It's really great to hear that from you guys, especially at Warlord Games. You know, a lot of the TOs in a lot of places aren't lucky enough to be salaried and be a TO at the same time. So, and it's really great to hear the same motivations from you guys as well. Where do you think what is it that makes a bolt action event so special compared to, other games?
The people.
Oh, yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's the guys that are playing. In general, bolt action guys are a wonderful group. If they're playing somebody that really doesn't know the game, they'll help them along and they'll give them advice, usually once they've beaten them, and we have a good time afterwards. Most of us are all friends and remain friends, and it's all about the camaraderie. And again, as I said, it's making memories. And I mean, just today we was watching somebody play and he goes, "That's the best game I've ever had," and he's going to remember that for years. And I have odd games like that. We've all got odd games where we had, that was the best time ever. And that's really what it's about. And if we can give everybody an opportunity and a place where they can make those memories, that's what we're all about.
Yeah, it's I'm actually really excited to hear that, because one of the things that's kind of maybe not obvious but certainly implied is that whenever we talk about bolt action, we're talking about our scene and our community and our meta, and we're one of the smaller capital cities in Australia. We're not one of the bigger ones. And just to hear that you guys are saying the same thing about your community as well. Paul, you're from the UK, and I suspect John's probably mimicking the same thoughts with this North American community. It's incredible here that it brings the same kind of people to the system. When you come to the kind of events itself, how do you go, well, let's play armies of platoons only. Let's put in theater selectors. Let's take them out. Let's do 2 platoons. Let's do 1K. How do you decide something like that?
Well, for upper tier events, if you want to call them that, we really need to level the playing field to a degree. So that's where we get to the armies of, and we've evolved to that over a number of years, really. We're hoping now that I'm in tournaments organization that we can now explore some things to make life a bit more exciting. And still keep the upper tier fairly even. For everything else, and let's be honest, the upper tier is the tip of the iceberg. It's the guys that are playing in the garages and local game stores. That's the bulk of the players. And again, we want to be producing things and events that keep them excited and keep them wanting to spend their time in this way, as opposed to all the other things they could be doing, which maybe aren't as much fun as playing more games, which we obviously all agree is the best thing in the world.
Yeah, 100%. That's super exciting. I think a lot of the times people get the perception that the big companies behind the games, like Warlord Games as opposed to bolt action itself, they really focus on either the competitive guys or one part of their target audience or something like that. But you're 100% right. The upper tier echelons is just a small part of the community, and they're made by the entire community. So to hear you guys go, look, the upper echelon guys, we absolutely have to look after them, but they're not what makes bolt action. They're what makes the competitive scene, which is, as you quite rightly put, it's a small part. Can you tell us what you've got in the works? Is there any a bit of can you slip us a little something exclusive while you're here?
Well, on the UK scene, we've got a more competitive scene developing with more organised events. We are currently we've got bolt action running at the London 40k GT now.
Yeah.
We're hoping to have some other events. So that's a little something for the guys that like to play competitively. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm happy for everybody to have their fun whatever way they want. That's one of the great things about bolt action is you can be competitive or you can just roll up and have a beer with your pal in the back kitchen.
Yeah.
What I have is I'm planning to do some more kind of open campaigny style events, which we'll maybe try and get at Warlord HQ. And I'm looking to go around possibly to start off with maybe some of the larger game stores and be running, not bolt action days, but running kind of Warlord days. We'll maybe do a little fun competition. We'll maybe have some demos, that type of thing going. So there's a bit of something for everybody because the world doesn't just stop at bolt action, even though I might like it.
That's news to me, Paul. I thought it started and finished at bolt action.
Gorchin, I think we need to end the call, mate. That's
Unfortunately, at this point, ran into some technical difficulties. The guys were recording in the convention hall where the tournament was cracking on. So we had to pause here for a second. We'll be back onto the Zoom call in just a few moments.
Aloha.
Got some interference from the local casino.
Yeah, interference with the local casino. Well, at least yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the IT department worked on it.
Oh, perfect.
Well, yeah, fantastic. Look, honestly, if you said interference from local casino, my guess would not have been an internet connection. So, yeah, you guys were saying looking after your local community with some new events, and we were talking about the format. One of the things that we were just chatting in the downtime with you guys coming back, it was one of the things we noticed is that your event size is actually kind of similar in size to the one that we have in Perth. Do you think that it was just sort of a bit of, I would have assumed that the Las Vegas event would be a lot bigger in terms of player numbers. Is this sort of the count that you see in the UK as well, about 20 to 25, maybe 30 players on a good day?
It can vary. So we can vary between, 10, 15 guys up to 30, 40 guys at the moment, depending on where you are in the UK. But that's one of the things we're actively looking to do now is look to expand these events out a little bit.
Yeah.
And we will be looking at Las Vegas next year to be making significant increase on those numbers, if possible.
Fantastic. Yeah. Good. I'm really glad to hear that you guys are sort of very much behind the scene. It means, I'm sure it's going to mean a lot to the community hearing that coming from the official mouthpiece, so to speak, for the tournament organization for Warlord Games. So yeah, we're just as stoked to have you guys in the show. As I said, it was I emailed. I scrolled past this. I think it was one of the UK players of some renown, Alistair Unicorn, put up a post that that LVO was having a bolt action event. And I was like, I'll check out the players pack. Maybe we can talk about it on the podcast. Yeah. It'll be kind of cool to see what they do and compare it to our scene. And then, I see the email address for John and I'm like, oh, whatever. It's Australia Day. I had a national holiday. I was sitting on my couch. I just finished watching, I think it was Invincible on Amazon Prime. And I was like, I'll send him an email, man. Whatever. I'll see. I got a few minutes. Worst that's going to happen, he's going to ignore me. And John's like, full steam ahead, man. Let's do it. Let's do the whole show. and then, as I was just saying, like a few minutes later, he's like, we'll get the whole crew. And I'm like, I figured he's got, some local talent helping him. Next thing I know, there's Paul Walker on the show.
So no talent whatsoever.
So what's next? Like what is actually coming for bolt action and the bolt action, I guess, competitive and non-competitive scene?
Well, what we've got coming next is we have, in the UK, we've got the Welsh Open, we've got English Open in August, if memory serves, Scottish Open. We also have the 40k guys we're going to set up events with. But remember, we've also got Danish nationals going on, organised by Bo and some of the guys. They're now making faces at me to make me laugh, but that's okay. Mr. Brown.
See, this is something that we don't see a lot in the Australia. We hear about the UK ones a lot, but we don't get as much exposure to the European scene. So you said that there was a scene in the Netherlands. I think I just saw a post about a national tournament league for Spain, where they were doing regional tournaments and then a national one. Do you know of what other countries have big scenes?
Yeah, I mean, Spain is definitely one. They won the World Team Championship.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To some people's surprise. So they've got a very good scene going.
Fantastic.
They, well, maybe not a surprise to them. It was a surprise to us because we didn't know about the international events. And one of the things with the World Team Championships is there's now a lot more people traveling and playing in different countries, at least in Europe anyway. And guys are starting to come across to America from the UK, and it's all about encouraging that. And as John's saying there, we've got two guys across from the UK today, as well as myself and Craig from HQ. Craig being one of the UK Raiders, and of course we've got Brian sitting here.
Yeah. So I actually didn't know that there was a World Team Championship for bolt action. I mean, me, one of the quote-unquote journalists for the bolt action community, not knowing this entire scene exists. So how big is this? How long has the Team Championships been going on for?
Well, I would like to say this was in the third year now, but technically this will be the second one coming up for bolt action. It'll be in Cork in May this year. We've currently got 12 teams, and we'll be expanding that out. It's not a Warlord thing, it's an independent thing, which I'm caught up with at the moment. But yeah, I'd be happy to come on sometime and explain all that to you. Or email me and find out, and I'll bore you to tears, lads.
Boring and bolt action is not two phrases that belong together as far as I'm concerned. I mean, here I go thinking I'm going to have like a 5-minute chat with a TO in Las Vegas, and now I've already got 2 or 3 shows lined up after the fact.
I've hijacked you. I'm sorry, lads. I've hijacked you.
No, this is fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, the more Warlord Games talks about bolt action, the happier I am. Let's do it. So we know what's coming next. We've got the World Team Championships as well. Bolt action's really growing internationally. Do you know what's coming out for the system itself, so to speak? I know that the community's talked a lot about like a grand tournament document or like an official, this is how you play competitively. I know that there was one, I think from 2018 or 2017, there was a pack that came out that was sort of GT grand tournaments for the UK. Is there something official coming for this?
Yes, we've got the play.warlord.com site. It's up, and that was going to be the Organised play site. And when COVID came along, it all kind of got forgotten about. Now that I'm on board, I'm talking with the guys at Warlord. We're going to revamp that whole site, and there will be guidelines for Warlord supported events.
Right.
But we want to allow TOs to have as much choice as possible. We're not trying to control TOs as such, but from Warlord's point of view, for top end, we want to see things as standardized and fairly competitive as possible. So that's what we've got those, and those documents you referred to will be updated and go on there.
Perfect. All right. I mean, I can't think of anything that the community's asked for that you haven't so far delivered on. You're looking after the little guy. You're looking after the competitive scene. There's official competitive guidelines coming. The scene's growing. There's team championships. I mean, what else is left?
Anything that you guys can suggest. If you want to get in touch with me, you can. My email is paul.walker@warlordgames.com, and I'm happy to hear from the community because that's partly what I'm here for. It doesn't mean that everybody's comment will be acted on, but we need all the opinions so we can make better and more informed decisions so that we can grow the community at the end of the day. It's good for everybody.
And a direct line to somebody at Warlord. Yeah, you guys are very much delivering. I mean, I feel like it's Christmas again. I mean, it only happened a month ago, but what other present am I going to open next? I was wondering if we could maybe sort of dive into the Las Vegas event itself.
perhaps if I hand you on to Brian Swanson here, who's got all the facts and figures for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Give me a second. Here you go, Brian. It's your time in the spotlight.
All right. Yep.
All right. Good day, Brian. Welcome to the show.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. Good day, mate.
Yeah.
Hey.
That was convincing. I'm 100% convinced. I was wondering if you'd tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is at Warlord before we get stuck into it.
I'm primarily an ambassador to the Midwest of the United States. I go to local events, support Warlord, answer questions, help run events, spread the Warlord good word. So
you're telling me you get paid to go to events and play bolt action and help people play bolt action? I didn't even know that was a possibility.
That's a job.
It's a dream, Jacob. That's a goddamn dream.
I'm not really on the payroll per se. I mean, I get some perks. Let's put it that way.
And I'm
perks driven. But primarily, I got involved by just wanting to build a community to where we could play. And, if you don't have the people to play against, it gets pretty boring just playing with the same old guys over and over again. So if you're not expanding, so you're dying. But it's funny, we talk about this in the podcast. One of the things we really encourage our viewers is to stop playing with just your small group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. Is get out there, get to the events, get to meet people, get to your local store, expand it. Because that was that was one of the big things that turned wargaming into something that I just did occasionally to something that I now do all of the time. Like this is my free time thing. Was when I realized that I didn't just have 1 or 2 or 3 friends to do it with. I had an entire community to play with, and that really sort of I was just like, man, I need more of this. So with the Las Vegas event specifically, how many players have you got? How are you seeing the faction sort of breakdown? Are you seeing any crazy lists at 1250 2 platoons that you wouldn't have expected? No, not really. So not a lot of variety.
Right.
We've got 6 Americans, which we're here in America, so it stands to reason we'd have maybe a few more American players. But so we got 6 American armies. 2 of them, I think, are Marine Corps. The rest are just Rangers or airborne.
Right. Yeah.
The Germans 5. We have 19 total. So that's 11 between the Germans and Americans. 1 partisan, 1 Chinese, 1 Russian, 1 Japanese. I think that, and 2 British.
Right.
2 British. Both of them desert rats. So, but lots. The theme for today is rockets. Everyone has the Howling Cow, a Nebelwerfer, a Panzerwerfer, land mattress. Yeah. So, and one guy in particular, he has 2 Howling Cows and 2 Panzerwerfers and 2 heavy morters. So HE all around.
Yeah.
It's but
say hello
he
to
is
my little friend.
Right. He is not on the top table, however. So it looks. It looks like the top table right now is 2 German players that each are running the Renault, the little French tankette that they slapped a Howling Cow on and rolled out. They each have 1 of those.
Yeah.
Wow. Primarily all infantry, some trucks, a Kuga Blitz on one side. I think it's a Panzer IV on the other.
Right.
And a crap ton of, one's a winner and the other one is Waffen SS. So and it's both have done really well. I've followed both their games. One of them in particular is a good friend of mine I play against all the time, and I can tell you that list is a super obnoxious to deal with. But he would probably argue my list is more of a pain to deal with. But
So you give us a quick sort of, a 1 minute elevator pitch of his list. Are we talking like 15 flamethrowers? Is that the?
Oh no, he has one flamethrower.
Oh, okay.
One flamethrower. He has some Fausts.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Cougar Blitz does a lot of the heavy lifting. He's running a couple 250/9. A little armored cars with the autocannon machine gun setup. It's just a volume of fire list.
Yeah.
He's gone for a lot of volume of fire.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it pretty vicious. And then a lot of veteran infantry that just don't go away.
Yeah.
And that's it. Plus, he's a tremendous cerebral player.
Yeah.
So. No matter what it is, whether it was our days of playing 40K together or playing this or Blood Bowl, or he's that guy that's always numbers, figuring the numbers, what's going to be best, and he's going to hit you with that. So
the percentages.
It's not so much the, look, I got 10 flamethrowers. It's more what I'm bringing to the table is going to be good enough to do what I need to get done, and light point costs and volume of fire. So
it's interesting. I think everybody talks about how crazy multi-launchers are, but I think they take up a really hot slot, like a howitzer or something like this,
right,
in that slot. And also they are, you're only ever hitting on a 6, so there's still a big swing. I think it's
even once you hit something, you're not ranged in then.
Exactly. So I think I'm not entirely surprised to see that the guy who's really out on top is the volume of fire, right? Because bolt action very much seems to reward that. People talk about tanks with like 5 or 6 MMGs and LMGs being super oppressive and that sort of thing. So not super surprised that he's up there. What I am surprised to see though is the Panzer IV list is doing quite well. One of the things that we talk about a lot in our local scene is that medium tanks are kind of too expensive for what they're worth. So it's interesting to see that he's at the top table. Do you suspect that bolt action leans much more towards cerebral playing than it does list building?
A bit, yeah. I agree with your assessment that the big point sink tank is just not really worth it. Your return is very limited.
Yeah.
There's only certain tanks that I like to take, and normally they're a versatile tank, more like a howitzer tank, something like that. Normally under 200 points, whether it be machine guns or just like I said, the medium or heavy how. Just whether they just decimate what they hit. And if you hit once in the game, it should do what it needs to do. If you just figure averages, it hits once and annihilates what it hits. It did its job. Or if anything, it's a deterrent. But I think the Panzer IV, if played right, is a great deterrent. It just says, don't bring your armor here.
Yeah.
Or you move it up and keep it screened from Panzerfaust or, infantry weapons that would kill the armor and use it just to bully aside. And I think that's probably what he's been doing is just bullying with it. And using it to support a flamethrower team. I believe in an Opal Blitz is what I've seen him use. So I think that's the best way to use it. And you also utilize that Tiger Fear when you do get close. So
It's great to hear that the combined arms really comes through in bolt action. I think it's something that I tend to avoid just a backbone medium battle or main battle tank, Sherman, Panzer IV, T-34, etc. Just for the same thing, because if you do spend 200 to 300 points in this thing, you then also can't let it loose by itself. You have to baby it and keep it safe from team weapons. But once you've created a little space for it, it can be pretty dangerous. One of the things that I found interesting in the Players Pack was that the missions were random for each round. Do you think that's kind of affected the tables, the top tier kind of split?
Oh, maybe a little bit. We did like the random generation, and the amount of missions that we put into this were very balanced missions. Centered around forcing everybody to have to move, have to be mobile, and it caters to back to the cerebral player. You need to be able to go out, take an objective, counter a thrust. Whereas if you just can allow these players just to sit back and use the 3 or 4 pins or the howling cows and their HEs just to blow you off the board, they're not scoring points. They're just killing units. So, and we predominantly have I think of the 5 we've pre-generated. It's 2 kill missions and 3 objective missions. Yeah, so it keeps everybody a little bit honest there. Yeah. So they can't just gear up. Hey, I'm just gonna kill you the board, and by virtue of that, I'll win. But ultimately, I really want to reward armies that are built for mobility as well as firepower. So, and I think that's what our top table. They're mobile units. They're mobile forces. So they're utilizing their trucks well. The half tracks, I don't think either one of them actually are using half tracks, other than the half tracks that are gunboats. So,
so is that why you went with randomly generated missions, so that lists couldn't be built to win mission 2 and 3 out of the day?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously there's only about, I think there's 12 missions in the mission pack. So you could kind of look at it and go, well, you can build your list a little bit around them, but each one of them has just a little different element that will have to make you question what you bring. That's why I think some of the lists that I see, the one in particular that I mentioned with the 4 multi-launchers has not done particularly well. Yeah. Because the first couple missions were objective-based missions. Yeah. You can only kill so many, and if you're not scoring points, you're not winning the game. Yeah. So.
And you can't reliably blow somebody off an objective with them.
Right. Yeah. When you're needing a 6, it's always, I did spike the 6, but it was the unit that was over hiding behind a building.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what else are you kind of expecting to see out of the next couple of rounds? So you guys are in the middle of round 3. You've got 4 and 5 to go for tomorrow,
right?
Guys, what are you expecting to see from here on?
Oh, a bloodbath.
Have you got kill missions for rounds 4 and 5?
Yeah, I believe the kill missions are at least 5. I think 5 is a kill mission. I think it's I believe it's No Man's Land.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. I believe is one of them. And what mission are we playing right now? I don't even know which one we're playing right now. I know we had meeting engagement and No Man's Land. It
looks like we lost the stream again.
The 2.
Welcome back.
Is it meeting? Yeah, it's a meeting engagement they're currently playing. So it is a kill mission this turn. So
yeah.
But I would say, obviously we're going to see the best that we have of the 20 players, 19 players we have here. I'm seeing 2 pretty dominant American forces, and obviously the 2 really dominant German forces.
Yeah.
I'd say that those 4 are going to be right in the thick of things for the final here. And with the Swiss pairing, we are going to get the best players against each other.
Yeah.
Here at the end. But I see a one in particular very strong American list. It's predicated around a couple Stewarts, gunboat Stewarts. I think he has a land mattress in that list. Howitzer, mortar team, and a lot of infantry.
Yeah. Is that the Marine list?
No, it is actually just a Ranger list, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I'm a huge proponent of large infantry squads, just because it's so hard to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And I like the volume of fire, 10 or 11 guys shooting rifles at you. So,
but
he's done really well.
Yeah, rewarding mobility. Rangers get basically a free move before the game starts. That buys you a lot of. It's a very forgiving thing if you deploy wrong, and also if you deploy right, you can really just hammer home that mobility advantage for round 1.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's something I play Greeks a lot.
Yeah,
and their whole thing is that field craft being able to move turn one and move with impunity through cover usually takes people by surprise. I can get a lot of good board control, which is important. And that's what the Rangers do, is if you play them right, utilize that board control, you're forcing them to come to you, and you're getting those opportunistic shots off rather than a lot of Super 6 action. So
the Rangers can be particularly oppressive. A lot of people find them very surprising when they first come across them. As you said, if you can deploy first right onto the objective, you just go, okay, this is my board now. You have to come to me. This is my game. Especially with a couple of Stewards to cover them, howitzers, land mattresses. So if they want to sit at the back, they'll just get indirected to oblivion.
It's good support fire for sure. Yeah. And that's why I've watched that game. He did score particularly well in the second mission. It was a prep bombardment, and he ended up killing 3 vehicles and an officer in the prep bombardment. So came right out of the game.
That's a good
bombardment. Yeah, prep bombardment in the second round was either super effective or absolutely nothing. It was one or the other. It was not. There wasn't a fair mix. It was just player got blown off the board or did nothing. So
wow.
Yeah, I wonder why did you guys decide to use the rulebook missions rather than custom missions? Custom missions is something that we're seeing a lot in the local Australian scene. So each kind of TO is now starting to come up with their own custom missions.
Sure. We did run 2. 2 of the 5, I believe, are custom missions. So we ran 3 out of the book, which was sectors, no man's land, and meeting engagement. And then it is timely. Oh, what is it? Timely. I can't even remember the name of it.
They're objective-based missions, yeah.
Yes, it's 3 objectives, and it was actually the one we played the first round.
Right.
You scored the point at the end of every turn for each unit that was, or for each objective that you controlled. So you could effectively score 18 points through the course of the game.
Yeah.
But it was difficult. They were all across the middle. It forces both forces to engage each other. You can't just sit back and try to keep them off the objective. You could try to shoot them off, but so many of them we had them in positions to where you could get to them and hold them if you were bold enough. So,
or if you're a ranger.
Or if you're a ranger, apparently that probably worked to his benefit quite well. And then I believe it's Heartbreak Ridge. I think it's the last one. It's another custom mission. I prefer the custom missions. I mean, it's nice to go and play an event where everything is new to you, rather than we're playing this again, or we're playing sectors again, which or my least favorite, Double Envelopment. Horrible mission. I'm just going to put that out there. I know it sounds bad. It's in the book. Alessio can be mad at me. But yeah, I hate that mission. I hate it. There's no fun in somebody putting 5 units in a truck and roaring it across the board on you to win. It's just I just don't like it. That's my opinion.
No roads board edge to board edge on the 48.
Right.
It's illegal. Not allowed.
I definitely. But you still always end up with that one map that, oh, wow, there's a road. And it goes all the way across. And I'm going to run off the board.
Yeah.
For sure, turn 2. So, I'm not a fan of that mission. Yes, you do kind of come together on it, but it's just not what I want. It's not heroic at all. So
I think that's it's probably quite a fair. I've had similar commentary. I'm one of the TOs in Perth, and I've had similar commentary around some of those other missions. But I'd be more than happy to provide some of the custom ones that I've designed for you guys to reflect on and have a look at for if you're looking for something different. I've got a couple in particular that were quite popular over here.
We'd love to see them. Like I said, I really like some new input. We've got a group of guys that try to put together missions, and some work out, some don't.
Yeah.
Some sound great in theory, and then all of a sudden they just become so convoluted that it's like, well, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I like it to be straightforward. I like them to be. I like the games in particular for tournament play. I want decisive wins and losses.
Yep.
I don't like draws. And I don't like a mission that favors one army over the other.
Sure.
Where I typically do away with preparatory bombardment, because obviously it favors the British, and we can't have that. So,
well, that was actually going to be one of my questions. It's like, why did you guys decide to keep prep bombardment? If we're going to air grievances, you hate double envelopment, I hate prep bombardment, because it either
I do too. It was Paul's fault.
It either wins the game, or it's
Paul's fault.
Dice rolling. Yeah.
Completely Paul's fault. I am completely against preparatory bombardment, so I always eliminate it, and I rarely ever. We didn't use any attacker defender scenarios here either. They're just not designed well for tournament play.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've written narrative and scenario missions that kind of reflect some historical event, and those are fine because there's kind of an agreement with your opponent that it might not necessarily be fair.
Sure,
it's going to be a little bit harder for one of you as opposed to the other, or there's going to be some crazy thing that shouldn't happen in bolt action that is caked into a special rule just because, as you said, for freshness and give them something a bit different. And if you're leaning on history, you can kind of get away with stuff like that. Doesn't really have a place in tournament play, though. I think a really good way to scare away your players and have them never come back is go, here's an intentionally unfair mission. Have fun.
Oh, exactly. In case in point, last two major events I've played, Point Defense was the final mission. Yeah. And it's really comes down to, do you want to draw or do you want to lose? Because if you're the attacker, that's your choice. I'm playing for a draw or I'm going to lose. And that's it. It's not a fair mission. It's not balanced at all. The only time I've ever played, we did have a tournament once that we hosted that was attacker defender, but I allowed everyone to bring two lists. You brought an attacker list, you brought a defender list, and everybody knew ahead of time it was going to be all attacker defender. In which case, I've got my go get 'em list, and I've got my set and blow you off the board list. Great. Yeah. We all know what's coming. It's all out there, very transparent. So, but I don't like them in tournament play generally. So generally, no, I'm very dissatisfied with that. It's actually cost me winning a couple tournaments just because of that win-loss there, or win-loss mainly draw, and then you get leaped over there at the end by somebody.
I'm feeling the hatred just dripping through your mind.
My youngest son jumped over to beat me at a major event, and he got first. But if I had to have somebody else win, it wouldn't have been him. No, right? No, I was very pleased. So if I can't, at least he did. So.
Yeah, fantastic. But, the trophy still goes in the same cabinet, hey?
Right. I just have to live with the shame of losing to him.
Yeah, that's actually something that I've seen a lot in the bolt action community, and I've heard a lot about that I haven't actually seen other communities. There's a lot of parent-child, not necessarily teams, but there's a lot of that. Like we've got a couple here in Perth that the father and son, a couple of father and sons will actually come to tournaments and play. And that's not something I've heard happening in other scenes. So it's great to hear that that's obviously happening here and also elsewhere in Las Vegas as well. I wonder, Brian, what's next for Midwest and bolt action?
The next major event will be Adepticon in March. Matter of fact, my youngest son and I will be playing in the doubles event there, and then the singles. My oldest son will be joining us as well for the singles event. He couldn't find a partner, But yeah, that's the next event I'll be playing in, a major event, I know. Then obviously John has his event in July, TLC, Twisted Lords in Oklahoma. we haven't talked about that. I won it last year, so I'm thinking about setting out for a season and maybe running it. Let Jay actually play for a change. So, but that's what I've got planned. So
that's a lot better than what I did. When I won my first tournament, I then proceeded to get bottom of the ladder for the next 2. So I think your strategy is much better.
Take a little time off, and but I was happy. I got to play one game. I got to play Ringer here at the start of the day. I lost. I played a German army that I wouldn't have put together, and it was just thrown together stuff. It was everything he had based in, like, here you go, this is what I've got. And I at least got the itch, scratched. I got to play one game, and win or lose, I still had a good time, and it was all in good fun. But
yeah, perfect. I guess that's it. Questions for me on for yourself in Las Vegas. Do you have anything else you want to ask?
No, just glad that you guys are out there making us. Yeah, exactly. So it's nice because that's the whole thing. We want to continue to build the community, so we're having more and more people, more and more clubs. Hopefully, bringing in a new generation of player, because most of us are getting a little long in the tooth. So it'd be nice to get particularly this one here. Really, both of these games are. I'm the only one that's not wearing a skirt right now either. I'm not sure what's up with that, but it's a pleasure talking to you guys.
Man, we're just excited to have you guys on the show as well. As I said before, I couldn't believe that the TO in Las Vegas replied to some effectively country bumpkin from Australia, and then also to be like, he's actually Warlord Games, and we've got Paul Walker, and we've got the brand ambassador to the Midwest. Like, we're stoked to have you guys on the show as well.
We appreciate it, everything.
Yeah, fantastic. Should we have a look around and see the tables? I think that was John's plan.
Sure, I'll let John. You want to do that? Here.
There you are.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, John. How are you?
I'm having a ball. I mean, come on, you're on the road playing bolt action or going to different tournaments and conventions. This is great. This is my 5th year of working for Warlord, and I've done about 160,000 miles. So it's been a little bit of a trip. So they're asking me to slow down. Yeah, well, thank you. They're asking me to slow down a little bit because I'm not a spring chicken apparently. So guys like, guys like Bryan. I've got about 42. We call them Raiders. They're handpicked guys that we watch, and we have 2 programs here in the States. We have sergeants and we have Raiders. Okay. Sergeants are guys that the store picks, and it's kind of a trade thing, and they take it's their local expert, and their care and feeding is done through the store, and they advocate Warlord in the store. My Raiders are kind of handpicked. You don't ask to be a Raider, you're asked to be a Raider, if that makes sense. Yeah. And Paul's starting to do the same thing now in England and in Scotland. And you remember? In Scotland. And we'll try to find some Raiders too. But basically what it is if I can't cover North America, I've got Bryan. I've got about 43. I've got a bunch of guys up Northwest, Northeast, California, Florida. And when I go to a convention like this, I can draw in some of the guys to come in and make it easier, because you're running 30 or 40 guys across the table. It's hard to do. Yep. And it's just it's a lot easier, and it's a lot. And getting more people excited about it. Yeah. One of my guys up in the Northeast, Tony Rigger, says, "You come for the game, you stay for the community."
100%.
And and it's just what it is. Paul and I have been fighting really hard for the last 3 or 4 years to try to get with each other and try to get this thing standardized, like he was talking about. It took us a long time to finally get everything the way we wanted it, and you'll start seeing more and more events on that Warlord webpage. You'll see stuff in Scotland, you'll see the Welsh National, you'll see the Scottish National, you'll see all the stuff that we're doing. LVO's on there. Genghis Khan is in Denver next month. I'll be there. Adepticon. Yep. If you guys got an event out there that you want, send it to me, jon.russal. You got my email address, Russell at warlordgames.com, and send it to me. We'll get your guys' listed there. Those documents that Paul has talked about, it took us a long time to get there. 4 of them. That's why I kept on going 4. Right. There's a TO document, there's a player's document, there's a scenario document, because sometimes those TOs go, oh shit, I need some I need some scenarios. So those 12, we want to get to about 20 or 30, but right now it's 12 that are all standardized. Is there preparatory bombardment? Yes or no? Is there forward deployment? Yes or no? And it's just kind of a straight up kind of thing. And as you guys, like we were talking about earlier, you got scenarios, send them in. We'll put them through that washer, and then we can put them out. The fourth document, it's a standard play or something like that. I call it kicking those assholes. Slow play, yellow card. Cheating, red card. So everybody knows that if I do this, I could get kicked out. So nobody can say I didn't know. I said, yeah. When you said and signed up, you said you read it. So you've read it. You know. Yeah. So Paul and I have gone through the 3 years of just back and forth and trying to get it done and asking people and get things, and and like he said before, it's a living document. If we get inputs, it's fantastic. And we've got over here, we have a thing called Best Coast Pairings. Best Coast Pairings is a fantastic thing we use a lot. There's probably an app for bolt action that Warlord's working on. It's coming out pretty soon. Perfect. You might see that sometime. I don't think we're leaking that. And if we do, oops, sorry.
Got our exclusive.
Yeah. Pretty soon we're going to start looking for beta testers. So when that link comes out, beat the crap out of it. Let us know what's right and wrong about it.
100%.
Easy Army is a great thing to kind of help out, but there's some problems in there that if we want to standardize have leaked in or not been taken care of. And it's nothing against Craig. He's a hard worker, but it's just when we get to those levels, we can't. Yeah. Craig's done a phenomenal job. It's just great. And Paul kind of alluded to it, but some of the standardizations, there's 3 basic things that you'll see when you look at a tournament that we're trying to get to. There's gold, silver, bronze. There's basic, intermediate, and advanced. And there's competitive or narrative. So the bronze, silver, gold bronze is 10, at least 10 people playing.
Right.
10 to 11 is silver. 10 to 24. That'd be bad. 11. 11 to 24 is silver, and anything above that is gold. So if you see. And then there's, basic, which is brand new players, intermediate, pretty good, and then advanced are these guys like today. They know their list back and forth, like Brian. And then you've got narrative or competitive. So if you see a listing that says gold, competitive, advanced, you better bring your A game. Yeah. So you know without even walking in the door what to expect. There's no, what are we doing? No, you know when you walk in the door. So that's what we've worked on really hard for these guys. Now it's been 4 years because it's 2022. That we've worked hard on, and that's something that we're trying to bring out for the standardization of bolt action. So, and we'd love to have you guys run it through the mills down there and tell us what's wrong with it and what's right with it. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna beat the crap out of that system, John. 100%.
Good.
In those 4 documents, are we gonna? I think we've kind of touched on it briefly. Are we gonna see kind of this is how you do competitive stuff, which is 2 platoons, 1250 armies of? Do you think is something like that going to be in the document?
Something is like that. There'll be an example because at the end of the day, it's up to the TO. Really, it's up to the TO. But it's going to define what is a TO, what is a referee, what's a player, what is this, what is that. So it tries to bring. We all kind of know, but now that it's written down, and we're not that pompous to think that we know everything.
Yeah, of course.
We think we do. We think we do, but it's one of those that we want to make it fun. We want to make it. I have been doing. I used to work for Games Workshop. We used to run a crap ton of 40K stuff, and I can't. I lose fingers on how many guys and problems we had with 40K. I can count on one hand and have fingers left over of problems I've had in bolt action. Yeah, it is just an easy game. It's a fun game. Like Brian and Paul were talking, guys will help you through it. Yep. It's fantastic. And all the tables are always great. The tables here are all provided for and supplied by a local game store called War Room Games. Ray is walking around here, and Ray brought the terrain in for us, so it's fantastic.
Awesome.
I don't know if you want to if you want to walk around, we can show you some of the tables. If the internet.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious about you talked about the sergeants and the raiders. You talked about the raiders particularly. Just before we get into the tables, what's the sergeant part of that program? And was this
the sergeant
something that you came up with, or?
Oh no, the sergeants were something that the trade guys in the headquarters, and we had around for a while.
Sure.
And it's had different iterations. We said like, hey, you want to be a sergeant? And 200 people said, sure. We gave them a starter army. Didn't see anything of them after a while, So
right, okay.
then we tried something else. A raider. And that's what a sergeant does. He works with that local store. Yep. He doesn't have to be stuck with that store. If he can do like one or two, and he helps that store grow bolt action or Gates of Antares or Blood Red Skies, whatever his favorite niche game is, and we do that. A Raiders, it's a little more. What happens is, like, let's say we go to a convention like LVO, and I see Bryan over there playing bolt action, and he's really good. Yep. So I start watching him in a non-threatening, non-stalking kind of way. And then I'll start watching for a while. Then after a month or two, I'll hand them off to like Paul, and then Paul will start watching Bryan in a non-threatening, non-stalking kind of way. And then after about 6 months, we'll say I think he's good, so they'll approach him. And they say, hey, look, you like bolt action. We think we have what it takes to be a raider. We've been watching you like in a non-threatening, non-stalking way. If you're interested, can we have your phone number, and John will call you, and then I'll call the guy, and we'll talk for 34. I'm an old school guy, and we'll talk for 30, 45 minutes. We'll find out what he does, and then we'll put him on the circuit with us, and he'll show up in an event. We'll pay for his food and his room, and he'll work for us for a while. Yep. And if he looks good, we'll put it up to a vote, and it takes 3 raiders already in to say yes. Yeah. So because we all have to work together doing this. And if he's in, then he gets a shirt, he gets his name on his shirt, he gets his call sign, like he's Sergeant Arms, and this guy here's the bolt action ambassador. But that way I know I can handle 3 conventions in the same weekend. I can be at one and my raiders can be at other ones. Yeah. So that's kind of the difference between a sergeant and a raider. Yeah,
perfect. That's a really cool system. And you guys said you're planning on rolling that out in the UK as well?
Right, yeah. Paul is now in charge of that, so he's looking for raiders in the UK. We'll do the same thing in France, in Germany. We're looking for raiders all around. But it's one of those guys, like the Outriders of the old Games Workshop. That's what some of us were, in fact. Some of those guys, I've known since Outriders, so I can trust them pretty fast. But we felt sorry for Paul, so we just let him in. But but no, this guy's so hardworking. He goes all over. I mean, he got Bolt Action Ambassador for a reason, because this guy would appear everywhere. He had a fantastic podcast, had a great following, and we met at We met at LVO like 4. Yeah. We don't want to talk about how old. Yeah, but anyway, and it's just been a lot of fun. And I have to go. Part of my job is I have to go back to the UK 3-4 times a year to go to headquarters and get refreshed and talk about things and see what's going on. So it's a horrible job, but somebody's got to do it. So I get a chance to bump into Paul. Yeah, that's right. So hell, if you want, we can start looking for raiders and stuff like that in Australia. Yep. We can start looking for sergeants. That's easy. The sergeants are an easy program to start with, and we'd love to help you out. Go ahead.
Be my next question. It's like, we're the Australian Raiders. I mean, maybe we go by Commando because that's more of our style, but where the hell are we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, there was discussions at headquarters what we should call them. Should we call them like the Reavers?
I know what I call you.
Yeah. He knows what you call me. But maybe the Scottish guys would be called Reavers, but some guys at HQ said, look, we want to keep this simple and the same, so let's just call them all Raiders. So and I understand why. Yeah. But and there's no reason why, just because you guys are a couple 100 miles away from us, right? Because I look on a map, it's only a couple 100 miles, right? But there's no reason that we can't keep doing what we're doing here and doing down there. Yeah. There's so many fanatical players in Australia that I've talked to or met with. And in New Zealand, the Gates of Antares is just screaming down there, and it is still there, and it's coming back in GO2. It'll be here soon. And it's just there's no reason why we can't do these things. And with Paul's World Team Challenge, or that WTC, phenomenal. And why not? Get an Australian team. So, yeah, it'd be fun. I think it's gonna be a lot of good times. During the COVID, we learned that tabletop event, TTE, not TTE, but the tabletop, we could play a little bit like that, and it's cool. But there's nothing like sitting down with a awesome looking table with great terrain, which you're going to see in just a couple minutes, and some of these fanatical painting armies. It's just great. It's just great.
Yeah, we had the exact same experience. We sat down, we played some games in simulator, and it was like it barely scratched the itch. It just reminded you that the itch was still there. It wasn't the same. It was enough so you could take a few deep breaths and be like, okay, it's coming. I get to do the same real thing. And there's a few other systems as well. Like I've recently started playing Magic the Gathering, which is a card game, and I played it a lot on the virtual one. And then I've recently just started playing it real life, and some parts are a bit more difficult. You actually have to move the cards and stuff, and I was like, this is a completely different experience. And I was just so it was great to see that everybody has that, and I'm not just some kind of weirdo who's like, no, just give me the real stuff. Give me 400 hours to paint an army. Give me all of that crazy stuff. So.
Yeah, and then, end of March, early April, we're going to get into combined arms. So watch out for that, because that's going to be a hoot and a holler. That's going to be phenomenal.
Very excited. We're all very excited. I think that's I suspect that's probably what Paul's planning to do with his narrative events that he was talking about. And some planning.
Yeah. Paul, with some of the narrative events, he'll be using combined arms.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
It's going to be phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, we're looking forward to breaking that system as soon as we can as well. Should we have a look at the tables and see what the event looks like?
We're going to walk around and look at the tables. Okay. If I go too fast, you got to let me know.
Yeah, I think it's there's a little bit of a delay, so if you just pause for maybe about half a second, it should focus.
Okay.
It should be fine to crack on.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, wow. These look great. So this is all supplied from one store?
Yeah, this is all from the War Room here in Las Vegas. The mats are provided by Frontline Gaming. They're a mouse type of mat. Yeah. They're great when you're in one. Me travel a lot. I prefer the cigar box because they can move around. Yeah. But I can pack 10 in one box, and if I get cold, I can use it as a blanket.
Surprisingly comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the Chinese over there.
Oh, yes. Found the Chinese. Perfect.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of them in our local scene.
It's a particular kind of player.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Yep.
Nice jungle board there. Geez, those Frontline Gaming mats are fabulous.
So what mission are we into right now?
This is the second round, meeting engagement, scenario 2.
Perfect.
I think what's really nice to see as well is not only is there a variety of the terrain, but it all is set up slightly different. And so that fresh experience happens every round.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think one of the other things that I love about the scene is that everybody's got some kind of custom order dice bag. It's this unspoken rule that if you new army, new custom dice bag.
Yes, and different kind of pin markers.
Yeah.
I like the Litcos, but sometimes some people are. This is the Marine team. See the Buffaloes?
Yep.
This is one of my particularly favorite tables.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think something that hilariously we take for granted is all of our events have been local because of COVID and stuff. We've only been able to move around the state, around the city, haven't been able to really do national events. Is that when we bring terrain and we make terrain, you know, we use foam boards or MDF boards and we kind of bake everything into the table, and of course they look marvelous because you can hand curate all the joints, you can hide all the seams and stuff. But yeah, I think that as we start moving nationally, and hopefully that frees up, and internationally, I mean, I would have loved to have been at LVO this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, next year, maybe the year after. If not, yeah, we'll be there in force, and yeah, have to get ourselves some mats and some more compact terrain to bring.
Me and Paul would love an Australian team here at LVO.
Yeah. Hopefully we can
bring more.
Yeah, we'll pack a full plane full of us Australian commandos. We'll come across and show you all how it's done.
Fine, fantastic, great. Anything you want to say anything to Paul?
Invite us to Australia.
Yeah, and of course we'll reciprocate. We'll come to Australia. Yeah, invite us out there. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hope to see you guys down here in person. And never know. Next time we can do the show without Zoom. We can all sit in a room and have a chat.
Those are fun. I'll enjoy that.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Well, thanks very much for your time, guys.
You bet it, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank you very much.
See you guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
And then we count to 3 and we count out and we edit, right?
That's the one.
You've done this before. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah,
go.
1 out. Yeah, I've been known to, if you liquor me up, I've been known to leak some things.
I should have emailed you last night. All caps. I was like, 9 o'clock Vegas. I got to ask you some questions. What is
Oh, we're getting 2 more boxes of Italians. You can't wait to see them. Yeah, they're going to be great.
Boxes of Italians? Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's going to be 2 more. There's going to be a Bersaglieri, and then there's going to be an Alpini. They'll come out about October, and one of those 2 boxes are going to have metal pieces in them to make some engineers. And then, of course, the San Marco Marines and the armored cars. And then the second book will come out then, too. So
the second Italian book?
Yeah, second Italian, yeah. Right, you know, the soft underbelly came out. Yep. There's talk that it might...
I love it.
They might call it Tough Gut, but that's the nickname now. But it's this book, the Italian book goes up to Anzio. And then the second book will go from there on up. Right.
Okay. Perfect. Or, I mean, any more presents that you want to give us? I don't want to end this. What else is going to happen?
I'll leave you with that little kiss, and then we'll talk some more next time.
Perfect.
That
Thanks
sounds
very much,
great.
John. Thanks, Paul. Thank Brian for us. See you guys.
Yeah, you
Thanks for making
Take care. Cheers.
See you guys.
Anytime.